Well, hi everyone. I'm PeriSean, and welcome back to another episode of the Healing Culture series. Of course, we are on episode number 3, which is taking a look at the man in the mirror. So we need to examine ourselves. I think of the song by Michael Jackson. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change, or her to change her ways. No message could be any clearer. I got to start with the man in the mirror. So that's what we're going to do. Looking at ourselves in the mirror is not so easy in terms of self-examination and saying, where have I gone wrong in terms of culture, whether it's personal culture or professional in the workplace type of culture. How am I contributing to culture? And I think that this is a beginning road to health when we can take a look at ourselves and do some self-awareness. Be aware of how we're interacting with others in the workplace. Are we trying to control the environment? Are we trying to be a part of the environment? Are we trying to improve? There are a lot of instances that come up in the workplace that are challenging, and culture really is impacted by how we act or respond. It's based on our behavior. So I think one of the main ways to change culture is to begin to change the individual, and one who is taking a look at themselves. And I have certainly been one of those ones and continue to do so, to examine myself and see what I need to adjust. I've been in situations where, there are toxic situations where people are avoiding things that they need to talk about. There's gossip. I mean, we've talked about the toxins in a toxic work environment, backbiting and arguing. I mean, and sometimes we're doing it in front of our customers and even with our coworkers. And so we're kind of doing things front stage as opposed to being backstage and resolving issues. So we don't want to be behaving in a backstage, and I'm speaking of theater, but we're all on the acting stage of life. And so we are being authentic in our roles, but we need to be mindful of how we're interacting with others and how we're impacting each other's as an individual. And so I know it's important. One of the things that I've had a challenge with at times is avoiding. I mean, I'm a peacemaker and I always want to keep the peace, but sometimes in order for the peace to be kept, it has to be disrupted, meaning you have to address issues. And so, but first of all, I need to start with me and say, okay, I could have handled that situation better. What am I avoiding? Well, I don't, sometimes I want to avoid conflict because you never know how someone is going to react or respond. But it's also in the way that I respond and how I communicate. And so, one way I've done that in terms of avoidance, I've had to have the hard conversations, because if things keep the same way, nobody says anything, we're stepping over things, we're ultimately going to trip over conflict. That rug is going to get higher anytime we continue to sweep things under the rug without dealing with them. And so that's where self-examination comes from, because we cannot change other people. We're all about transformation in this culture, and everybody has to agree to change themselves. I mean, we cannot control others. We have to take that energy and focus on ourselves. I've looked at areas where I needed to confront, but have also taken the time to think about what I needed to say and how it was going to impact. I'll give you an example. There was a project I had done, and then a couple of team members had come in and were taking critiques. They were kind of complaining about, why was this done? And so I just came in, instead of avoiding and escalating the situation, I came in and asked them. I said, well, what needs to change? And so that dissipated all of the talk, the criticism, the negative criticism, and it made everyone come together. We couldn't avoid that, and I didn't want it to escalate when it was simply, some insight about what needed to be done. And so I just asked the simple question, uh, what needs to change? And so everybody put in their input, it was peace. I made the changes, and there we go. We don't just, we don't want to continue in dialogue that contributes to disagreements. Just we want to keep a clear, healthy environment, and we also want to be mindful of our behavior. And so, being self-aware is really important in this process. We want to just take some time, again, take some time and think about how we're responding to each other, how we're responding to our environments, our customers, our internal customers, our external customers, because how you respond, you're literally on a stage. We're on a stage of life. Personally and in the workplace, and everybody's watching. People are listening. The impact is being felt in the environment. So if there's a place of peace, an agreement, everybody's going to flow through the culture pretty well. And culture is about the people. It's not, a picnic. It's not about the company picnic or the company gathering, the Christmas party, but culture is all about people. And since we're people, we have to be careful to take heed on how we're behaving. We've all slipped up at times. We may make a mistake and, just catch us on a bad day, and we're like, hey, why are you doing this? What happened here? And instead of just going to the person one-on-one, we don't want to have one-on-one battles in public. We don't want to have battles in the workplace. We're on the same team, so we shouldn't be fighting one another. And so I really want to bring this home about workplace transformation. So workplace transformation happens when we stop blaming each other for the culture, stop diagnosing the problem and being the solution. We want to be a solution because culture is how we interact with one another. Culture is what we're contributing to it. Culture is people. And so we need to be mindful that we're called to change culture through being healed ourselves, going through a process of healing, and also contributing some health habits to the culture. All right, so we're going to take responsibility, we're going to take leadership, we're going to be accountable, and those are the ways to heal the culture. And be mindful of make sure we're respecting ourselves and respecting others, because it has a lot to do with it. All right, so I want to close out and with my reflection question of the day, and I want you to think about that and put it in the chat. What's one personal habit that might be shaping your workplace culture negatively? And what's one step to take the shift to fix it this week? What shift can you take this week to cure your culture? All right. Well, remember, we're healing culture from the inside out. I want you to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'll be back with more videos from the healing culture and how we continue to grow and heal through culture. Talk to you soon.